Hello everyone, my name is Jason, this is
Monty.
And today we're doing Bible chat on Proverbs 18 verse 1. And I'm going to read it first in the King James Version. It says, "Through desire, a man having separated himself seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom." Now, if you're not 100% sure on the meaning of that, let's read it in the American Standard Version, where it's much plainer, and it says, "He that separateth himself seeketh his own desire, and rageth against all sound wisdom." I love that. That is awesome. That is the reason that we use different translations, because it puts it down into our modern way of speaking and lays it right down in your lap.
Because it's American.
That's probably it. Now let's put this verse into context, because as you know, this is Bible chat, and that's the most important thing. And it says, I'm going to read it in King James Version, verse 1 through 5. It says, "Through desire a man having separated himself seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. A fool hath no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover itself. When the wicked cometh, then cometh also contempt, and with ignominy reproach. The words of a man's mouth are as deep waters, and the wellspring of wisdom are as a flowing brook. It is not good to accept the person of the wicked, or to overthrow the righteous in their judgment." Now I believe that the book of Proverbs is one of the most interesting in the entire Bible, because it's often called the collection of collections. What that means is it's just a collection of sayings in an entire collection, which we know at least a great deal of the book is written by Solomon. Most scholars are kind of iffy about who wrote all of it. We are sure that a great deal of it was written by the wisest man to ever live, Solomon. So keep that into account. And what I love about Proverbs just in general is that all 31 chapters and every single verse that's within it, each is just like a little bit of philosophy on life. You have, sometimes it's talking about moral behavior, sometimes it's talking about the meaning of life. But it's always something interesting. And you can just take this small little verse, and it will help you throughout your day. And I love that about Proverbs. And you can really tell that each single one of these verses was thought out, and they were put in there for a specific reason, and it's beautiful to read. So what do you think about Proverbs 18:1?
Well, I was reading this verse, and what really stood out to me, just the verse itself, "Through desire a man having separated himself." Now, we've talked about being holy and separate from the world before. "Seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom." Now, if you read this chapter, or the majority of chapters in Proverbs, it's all about what wisdom is and what a wise man is, how to tell a wise man apart. And the thing right here, it says, he seeketh wisdom, and he intermeddleth with wisdom. So he hangs out with wise people. Solomon, in his most wise days, would hang out with the wise men, the magi of the time. Of course, they weren't always called magi, but my point being, and the room we're recording in right now actually has a desk with concordance, dictionaries, and books that we study to do things like this, because we want to intermeddle with wisdom. Do whatever we can find. We seek wisdom through things written by people who have wisdom. So we intermeddle ourselves with wisdom. And another thing, the very beginning of the verse, it says, "Through desire." The thing is, they say, the more you do something, the more you have a desire to do this thing. And I've been taught this all my life. The more you pray, the more you want to pray. Thing is, God's presence is so awesome that when you get into the presence, you want to get further into the presence. The same thing is with wisdom. I had a friend in a school I went to who I hung out with him because intellectually he was very, very smart. So I would hang out with him because I could grow in my own wisdom because of his wisdom. The thing is, I desired to have a friendship with this person because I sought out wisdom.
Now, my meaning for this is a little bit different than his. In my own reading, I understand from several commentaries, not only commentaries, but from the general connotations associated with this verse, I believe it to, instead of being productive and positive, I believe that Solomon is saying the person that separates himself from the people of God, that goes off and sort of tries and does his own thing, he doesn't come to church, but yet he's holier than thou, that person, they're raging against all sound wisdom. They're going against every single wise thing that you could possibly do. They're not being smart in the least bit doing that. They're actually being quite stupid in doing that. So that's what I
got that there too.
That's what I think that verse means. But also, what really drove this out for me was usually we will read related verses to really compare spiritual things with spiritual things. And a related verse that popped up in my Bible was Jude 1:19, and this really set it off for me. It said, "These be they who separate themselves sensual, having not the Spirit." And that really got down to it. Those people who separate themselves from the people of God, they don't have God's Spirit. So that's Jude 1:19, by the way, and so that really set it off. And something important to remember about Bible chat, I believe we used to mention it a lot, but we sort of haven't in a while. I believe me and him are not theologians in the least bit, and we are not exactly trained in Bible study or in the things of, studying the Word. We do our best, though, because we believe it's what God instructs us to do on this channel. However, I do believe that at times we could be wrong, and I'm sure we have got it wrong a couple times. That's just kind of how it goes. But we are led by God's will, and so all the time our meaning of the verses isn't exactly 100% yours, and that's all right. I believe that's the great thing about Scripture.
And if you'd like to, you can comment below what you think of this verse. And we do this YouTube channel to bring wisdom or knowledge to you through our own conception of the word. So comment below if you have any questions about a specific verse, or email us.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes.
We'll explain it on a video or email you back.
Yes, we have been getting a lot of emails actually from people who've been wanting to email us about certain things. So the email is always there. Of course, if you want to email us, just jasonandmonty@gmail.com. If you have any questions, concerns, or anything about a future video or previous video you just want to talk, we're always there. So moving on, and lastly today, in closing, last night, kind of late, I was writing on the blog, and this is kind of a shameless plug, but I'm going to plug it anyway. I wrote a blog post entitled "The Bible: Why It's Important," and I go through a lot of stuff in there. So, and I believe
read it.
Yeah,
it's very nice.
Just read it. I wasn't gonna say that, but yeah. So check out our blog. We've been putting a lot of stuff on there lately, and we're really trying to reinvigorate it and keep it interesting for you guys. So, I believe that's everything, unless anything's come up.
Not that I know of.
So, with all that said and done, my name is Jason. This is
Monty signing off.